Listen to the All in My Head podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Please, allow me to show you something.
Welcome back to the All in My Head podcast. I'm Jenny, and I am your host and tour guide for all things that are happening in my head. So this episode 9, is coming out a bit later than I had scheduled because I felt like the last episode 8, Reclaim Your Joy, Healing Trauma and Honoring Your Inner Child, just needed some room to breathe. And so did I, quite honestly. I dropped that episode the day after the United States presidential election, and that timing may not have been the best, but also I feel like it was right on time. I just needed to take a moment and let it sit out there and take a moment to regroup myself. But also, I have been getting some beautiful messages and feedback on that particular episode. It was definitely one of my most vulnerable, if not my most vulnerable episode. And I'm actually so glad that I put it out into the world because it has helped me. Also, people are telling me how they feel seen and how they are grateful that I talked about something that was heavy and hard. And that's really what it's all about. It's about making that connection. And for people or a person or anyone to make that connection with it. So I want to thank you for your beautiful comments and for reaching out and for allowing me to share my heart in all of its forms. It means the world to me. So here we are, Season 1, Episode 9, and this episode is called The Attitude of Gratitude, Finding Joy in Everyday Moments. We're in this season of holidays and this hustle and this bustle, and all those things are beautiful and being able to spend time with people. But, we want to take some time and be thankful and show gratitude. That is a transformative way of thinking in terms of gratitude. That's not always easy to do. And I've said this in past episodes. I was a worrier, I was a people pleaser, and I spent a lot of time mentally stressing in my mind about anything and everything. And then on the outside, I presented as this person with the smile on, and I was positive for everyone else. That's what I was displaying on the outside. And it's not to say that I wasn't happy. For sure, I am happy. I have been happy. I am going to be happy. But I also did spend a lot of this time worrying and stressing. Not only stressing, I would try to do whatever I could to create or to make things better, to make things as great as I could. And we know that comes from trauma for sure. I know that now. I probably did not know that then. I, again, talked about that in my last episode on how when you're living in this space, you believe that's normal. It is your normal. But I was stuck for a long time in this woe is me victim mentality. It wasn't until I turned that into A, everything happens for a reason, B, what is the lesson, and see what in that situation can I be grateful for. When I turned that mindset of how can I control this? How can I make it into a great situation? And flipped that on its side and said, how can I look at these things that are going on and be grateful in the moment? It wasn't until then that things drastically changed for me. That finding thanks and taking the lesson out of the moments, finding the beauty in those moments, that my life kind of shifted completely. A big part of that, and a big daily ritual that I do before I even open my eyes in the morning is, and upon waking up, I immediately say 3 things that I'm grateful for. And whether I say it out loud or I just say it in my head, 3 things that I am grateful for was and is life-changing. Because gratitude makes you happier. That's the reality of it. It literally makes you happier on the inside, which resonates in the outside world. And it helps you to see how truly beautiful life is, but also how many beautiful things you already have in your life. And showing gratitude opens the door to grace, and that beauty continues to flow in. I know that when I have not taken that time in the morning to express my gratitude right away and to take that pause, that'll set the tone for the day too. And it's not to say that, if I do this ritual or if I don't do this ritual per se, that everything bad is going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I've noticed in my life that when I don't start my day with that moment of gratitude, with that moment of quiet reflection, and that I just hit the ground running and don't talk out loud about or express my thanks and gratitude for just opening my eyes, or for the sunshine, or for whatever it is in the morning, my day doesn't usually get off to a good start. And that's the tone that is usually set for the day. And also ending my day in that same place of gratitude and prayer or reflection of what I was grateful for in that day. It changes perspective, and it changes the way I fall asleep and the way I sleep. So it is very instrumental and purposeful in my life. And now I get that gratitude is easy when life is good. We know this. We're great at expressing our thanks and our gratitude when things are going well. And we can find a million things to be grateful for and grateful about when life is good. That's easy. But it's even more important, I feel. It is even more important when life is not great, when things are hard, and when you're in a season of stress or a season of struggle. It's even more important to sit in that space of gratitude and to find the beauty in the broken pieces. I say that, and I've said that in my last episode, and I say it daily to myself, and I say, how can I find the beauty in the broken spaces? And there's always a place to find beauty. I have talked about my son's journey with cancer and how devastating that was to our family. And it was life-altering, but it also helped us, and me in particular, to find the beauty in those moments, to find the beautiful community that we made and found through a group of people who were going through the same thing, for our sons to find community in a camp that welcomed them and that saw them and saw their struggle and what they were going through, but took the time to make their visit there and their time there beautiful and to make it worthwhile. And for them to meet more people who were just like them, who were on this journey that nobody wanted to be on and that nobody asked to be in. And I always say it was a club that we never wanted to be a part of, but we wouldn't change it for the world because it brought us some of the most beautiful human beings we will ever meet. From the nurses that we met and who took care of our son, and the doctors that we met, the families, the children, and all the extended groups and organizations that put their arms around us. It was beautiful and is beautiful. And I know that changed my kids in a way that they would never have had they had not gone through it. You can only teach your children so much, but when they're immersed in something, they take different lessons from it. So I think that was a big way for me to start looking at difficult situations and to find the grace and the beauty in it, and to express gratitude for not only the obvious, but the small lessons in it that change you, and they change you forever. I also know that for me, and I've talked about journaling in the past, and I probably will always talk about journaling because it's an important part of my writing process. But journaling and starting a gratitude journal was also something that changed and shifted my perspective in a different way. I meditate every morning, and I personally like to use an app. And there's many apps out there. There's Insight Timer, there's Calm, there's so many others. But I like to use a meditation app and start my day in a meditative state. And that's part of my waking up process. It's, express those 3 things that I'm grateful for right off the bat before I even open my eyes and grab my phone, and then turn on my meditation app and meditate and find what I need for the day. And there's so many different teachers on these apps and different meditations, and you can really cater it to you, to your day, to what you're looking to get out of the day, to how you want to start your day. It's very personalized in that way. And so for me, that helps to guide me to a gratitude mindset, to start my day in gratitude and to end it the same way. And I take that meditation process and I'm able to put it into my gratitude journal. I like it because it helps me to be reflective, not only in the moment, but in retrospect. I can go back and I can look at these things and I can remember the moments. And a lot of times what I find for myself as a writer, this gratitude journal and in my journalings in general, I'm able to use that and utilize that to write more intently and more intentionally. I will be able to take something that I wrote about in my journal and I will be able to create something bigger, whether it's a story or a poem. I'm able to expand on that and make it something more tangible that I can put out into the world. So for me, that has been the way that I can catapult my gratitude more intentionally. Gratitude can be as simple as saying, I am grateful for the sunshine this morning, the delicious cup of coffee that I am about to have, my cozy bed, my warm blanket. It can be as simple as just naming the things you're seeing around you. That's gratitude. And it can grow to be as big as I'm grateful for my health, for being able to live another day, for the opportunity to love and to be loved, and so on. Gratitude is so expansive. And being able to look at the difficult times in your life and also be able to be grateful for what it gave you, how it made you grow, how it forced you to look at yourself fully and as a flawed individual, and to love yourself more, and to rise up through the painful parts, and to say, I'm a better human because I went through this. That's the greatest gift you can give yourself. To take the hardest challenges that life throws your way and to show it gratitude is powerful. It is so powerful to look something hard right in the eyes and say, thank you. Thank you for showing me how to be better, how to treat people better, how to move forward stronger. I know for me, it has changed me for the better. And, we are humans. We're all humans living this human experience. And in being humans, life isn't always easy. And it's full of its ups and it's full of downs. But it's how we choose to look at all of that shapes our human experience. We can fight it and try to wish it away. We can be angry about it. We can be in denial. I know a lot of people who live in that. I call it the land of denial. But you need to see exactly how that experience will play out. And if you're living in that space of anger and frustration and not in the space of gratitude, you're going to manifest more of the same. You're going to manifest harder times. You're going to bring in and usher in more of that same heaviness. But we can stop and we can sit in it and ask for the lesson, or at least try to find the lesson and be grateful for it. I know that when I took my traumas and sat with them and really put them out there, bare and bold, and I journaled about them, and I dissected them into a million pieces and went beyond the pain, I found beauty and gratitude in every single one. And that allowed me to change the narrative. And I talked about that in depth in my last episode. I was able to not only change the narrative, but I was able to see the narrative for what it was and for how it shaped me. And allowing your mind to shift into a space of gratitude and changing the way we look at our daily life by saying, I get to, and you can fill in the blank, instead of I have to. For example, I get to work out every day instead of saying I have to work out every day. It alters your mindset drastically because you'll look at that as the gift that it is. Not everybody can move their bodies. Not everybody can do that. And I know that changing my perspective, and I'll say in that specific area as well, changed my mindset a lot. I had a car accident almost 8 years ago. I was a person who worked out every day. I ran. I worked out on the treadmill. I lifted weights. I did Pilates. I did all the things. And it was something that helped me to relieve stress, but also stay fit. And after that accident, that changed what I was able to do with my body. I wasn't able to do all those things I was able to do before. And it took me years of looking at that and mourning what I wasn't able to do anymore, to find different ways to be able to move my body and stay healthy, because I can still do that. I can still move my body. I just have to do it differently. And I get to do that, right? I don't have to do it. I get to. And that's such a positive way of thinking of it, but also a way of empowering yourself to see your body and to give your body that grace to show you what it's capable of now that it looks different or it feels different. Perspective is everything. And I've been saying this a lot when I talk to friends, especially when I haven't talked to someone in a while. I have a good group of girlfriends that live in Connecticut, and, we try to touch base as often as we can, and we're all busy. We all have lives. We all have 50 million things that are pulling us in different directions. But I always say, life is gonna life. Life is lifing. And we can't change that. But we can change how we perceive it, right? Our perception is within our control. And if we could just pause before we react, what a different world it would be. If we could just pause before we react, before we respond to something, what a different world it would be. And especially in this age of instant gratification, right? We all see it. We all know that is the world we're living in, instant gratification. We need to see everything as it happens, react immediately, respond instantly, and judge. We as a race are judgy. And I'm included in that. I've had many moments where I've judged a situation or a person without pausing, reflecting, and finding out the true story. And I kind of long for those times. There's so many times where my husband and I will say, or I'll say to my kids, I long for those times where when I grew up, the pace was slower. I mean, there was no social media. Computers were very, very, very limited. We didn't text or have texting. We didn't have cell phones, or we didn't have any of these ways to kind of stir it all up. And don't get me wrong, I can appreciate social media and computers and cell phones. I know that these are some amazing technological advances that we have, and they can be so great. But also we need to recognize the negative aspects of what these things can do. So even in that, I think it's important to find the gratitude in all of those things, but also allowing for space in it and with it. We can be grateful and mindful simultaneously. I feel like the more we practice gratitude as a whole and thankfulness, the more we will see it and have more things to be grateful for. Now more than ever. Now more than ever. I'll say it again. Now more than ever. In this time where the world is chaotic and there's division and there's war, we need to put more gratitude and grace back out into the world. I feel like it's our job as humans to put out as much goodness and gratitude and grace as we can, because that's going to change the world. That's going to impact the world globally. It's going to show the world what we need more of, and it's going to bring that out. I fully believe that what you put out into the world comes back, And so a lot of this that we're seeing in this world is what we've put out there, and it's just coming back. So putting out that gratitude, putting out that grace, putting out love, that's all going to come back to us. You know, we need to put our hands on this earth and just do a love dump, do a gratitude dump into the world so that it can penetrate and that it can come back to all of us. And that will be so uplifting. I know that will be uplifting to the universe. And I'm grateful for so many things. I mean, every day I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my grandkids and for my friends and my community. I'm grateful for this podcast and for the growth that I have made throughout my life. And that's what helps me to see my list of gratitude more vividly. I have grown and continue to grow. It's a lifelong journey if we're doing it right. But my growth helps me to see the list of the things that I am grateful for more vividly. And I love that. There is a quote that I absolutely love about gratitude. And it's by this American writer and poet, and he was a motivational speaker as well. And his name is William Arthur Ward. And he says, gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into your biggest blessings. And how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that when you put this gratitude into the world and into your orbit, that it can transform. It can transform the most mundane, simple task into something beautiful. And I know that my biggest blessings come and are coming to me because I'm grateful for it all. I am grateful for every experience, even on the hardest days, more so on the hardest days. And I myself, for many, many years now, I couldn't even tell you how many years, probably most of my adulthood, I have taken the month of November specifically to write down daily one extra thing that I am grateful for. I do post it on social media daily as well, starting on November 1st, but also in my gratitude journal. I take, usually at the end of my day, and write down this one extra thing that I'm thankful for and grateful for, because I want to be able to go back and reference it. I want to be able to leave that for my children and my grandchildren to look at and reflect on and see how many beautiful things that I could find gratitude in a day and in that period of a month where I'm usually writing down 3 things I'm grateful for anyway. Now I'm adding that one extra thing that I found that I was thankful for. And especially if it's a tougher day, I want to and I need to pause and shift my mindset and find gratitude in the day. It has grounded me and it helps to pivot the day for me as a whole. It is something that I am so glad that I started doing. I find nourishment and a wholeness in my writing and journaling that, as I talked about in my first episode and in previous episodes, and I will continue to talk about, that writing saved me. And for me, it just has grounded me and it has helped me to express my emotions in a positive way. And again, to find gratitude even in the hardest moments, even on the toughest days, because there's so much beauty in the world. There is, even in the climate in which we're living, there are beautiful things. There are beautiful moments. My husband likes to make fun of me because whenever I watch a show, I don't watch the news. Don't like to watch the news. But I do like the feel-good moments. So, when the nightly news is on and they say, there's good news tonight, I come running out and I sit down for that moment. Or if I'm watching a talk show, I really chime in and tune in for that part where they're talking about the good news story or people helping people, because there's so much beauty in the world. And the more that we are grateful for the beautiful things that we can take out of our human experience, the more beautiful our human experience will be. It's that simple. So as we come closer to the end of 2024, I want to ask you a few questions. What are you, or what will you say you were most grateful for this year in 2024? What are you thankful for today, right as you're listening to this podcast episode? Take a moment. And what are you thankful for today? And what are you looking forward to in anticipated gratitude? What are you looking forward to? And I think the last thing I want to say, or maybe it's a call to action or just something to try. How can you show someone, and it can be something small or it can be something big, it can be a gesture, it can be a note, but how can you show someone gratitude, that you are grateful for what they bring to your life? How can you take a moment out of your day and express thanks for someone in your life? I think that's how we'll end this episode. I know I'm grateful for each and every one of you that listens, that takes time to download an episode, to send me a comment, to reach out, and to share this podcast. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And I'm grateful to be able to do something that I love. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a wonderful day full of gratitude. See you next time.